Hello everyone. Today we are going to explain how ionic bonds work and how to name them, including those tricky ones with transition metals and Roman numerals. Let's get into it.
So, ionic bonds form because opposite charges attract. Here's what happens. An atom that loses electrons becomes a positive ion, which we call a cation. Metals usually do this. An atom that gains electrons becomes a negative ion or an anion. Non-metals usually become anions. So when a cation and an anion come close together, they stick to each other because of their opposite charges. That attraction is what forms an ionic bond.
Let's talk about naming a ionic compound. Binary just means it has two elements, one metal and one non-metal. Here's the rule. First, let's say the name of the metal, which is the cation, and then say the non-metal, but change the ending to "ide." For example, NaCl is made of sodium and chlorine. The name is sodium chloride. Magnesium and oxygen is magnesium and oxygen. The name is magnesium oxide. Simple, right?
Alright, now let's move on to transition metals, which can have more than one charge. To figure out which charge the metal has in a compound, you have to look at the non-metal and use its known charge to do the math. Here's how. Take the total negative charge from the non-metals and balance it with the positive charge from the metal. That tells you the metal's charge. For example, in FeCl3, chlorine always has a -1 charge. There are 3 chloride ions, so that's -3 in total. That means iron must be +3 to balance it out, so iron's charge is +3 in this compound.
Now we know the charge of the transition metal. We include it in the name using Roman numerals. So FeCl3 becomes iron 3 chloride because iron has a +3 charge. Here's another one. Cu2O, oxygen has a -2 charge, and there are 2 copper atoms. To balance that, each copper must be +1. So the name is copper 1 oxide. One more, MnO2, each oxygen is -2, and there are 2 of them for a total of -4. This means that manganese must be +4, so the name is manganese 4 oxide. Let's wrap it up with a quick review. Ionic bonds from between metals and non-metals because opposite charges attract. To name a binary ionic compound, say the metal first and the non-metal second with an "ide" ending. For transition metals, figure out their charge by balancing the charges and include that number as a Roman numeral in the name. Thanks for listening. Now you know how ionic bonds form and how to name them like a chemistry pro. I want to give a quick shout out to Gavin for making this presentation possible. Thank you.